Hello and welcome to another set of GM tips with GM Rick here. I hope everybody's been doing good. Sorry I haven't done as much lately. I know I probably have been a little remiss and you guys may have missed me even though I put out my videos ahead and kind of built up on them a little bit. Yeah. My English is real good today, isn't it? Can you tell I've been out visiting customers? That's what I do. I'm a field sales engineer, so it's all fun and games until you come home and have to then have a conversation with somebody other than a 6-year-old. So, today's topic, to go right on the topic, we're going to look at understanding archetypes in a gaming system. And let's even broaden it a little more. Understanding archetypes and prestige classes in a gaming system. Now, there are many RPG systems that stay well away from both. They just come up with a main core class, give you the ability to free scan, build things, and go. And again, I'm not an objector against simplification because I sometimes believe that there should be different types of gaming for every type of gamer. But at the same time, I want to help people understand why there are game systems like Pathfinder, D&D 3.5, D&D 2 that had things like archetypes and prestige classes. And how do they fit in outside of a core class? So let's take a look at them a little bit. You have your core classes in a system, and they can be whatever. In this case, I'm going to choose the one that people pick on the most, that I like the most, which is Pathfinder. But this can be any system. You can go with any system, okay, that uses this type of methodology. Again, I don't know every RPG system under the sun, otherwise I'd list them all off to you guys. But I do know 3.5, and I do know 2.0, and I do know Pathfinder, which is kind of the 3.75, I don't know, however you want to put it. But it's the in-between between 3 and 4 for D&D. So let's take a look at them. You have your core classes. And what are your core classes in Pathfinder? Your core classes, and this is true of D&D. So let's just say D&D pre-5.0. This is D&D 4 and back. So you have your fighters. You've got your thieves or your rogues. You have your clerics, your druids, your bards, your monks, your rangers, your paladins, your sorcerers, your wizards, your warlocks, in some cases. In other cases, you have your war mages. In this book, they do them a little bit differently. So they've got the mages, which is kind of like a war mage. You have your cavaliers. You have your samurai, ninja. You have your oracles. You have your alchemists. And so on and so on and so on. So there's all these core builds. And it's cool because it gives you a lot of things. Now, D&D 3.0, 3.5 have the Shugenja. They had the Shugenja, which was the war, kind of the war priest. Well, no, Shugenja was the kind of like what now they're terming in Pathfinder as your shaman type. Then you had your Sohei, which was your warrior monks. And you have other types. So all these different classes, okay? And everybody's like, okay, that should be enough. Not really. And you know why? Because we as players keep asking for more. We want to build our own hero the way we want to build them. Now, let's be real, players, and any of you players watching this, you have an idea in your mind of what your hero will look like. And you do. And unfortunately, these core classes don't always allow you the flexibility to become what you want. Okay? So, say you want to have that warrior priest, or you want to have that priest of the High Inquisition, but you don't have a means to do it. Now, fortunately, Pathfinder did some melds for you. They did the war priest, the swashbuckler, the brawler, for those fighters that want to be like the dwarves out of Drizzt Stewart and the not the doodad, but the I'm going back, right? Can I take you back to Drizzt? But the problem is we want what we want, and the cores don't let us do that. So what does an archetype do? An archetype basically allows you to take that core class and its abilities and its I won't call them feats, but class traits or talents or whatever you want to term them. They're kind of like feats and sub-feats that the class gets, and switch them up for things that make better sense. Let's take, for instance, the Pathfinder Investigator, okay? Because that one, I think, really lays it out the best of any of the classes. Now, mind you, the Advanced Class Guide, and I'm not showing you the cover right now, I should. This is what the Advanced Class Guide cover looks like, okay? So people say, why that? Because what they did is they did blends. So instead of having to go dual class to get the things you want, they blended your best of your best and came up with the hybrid classes, as they call them. Now, what are those hybrid classes, you ask? Well, that's a very good question. And again, these are getting converted over to 5e, so you 5eers, don't worry. They've got that homebrew site that's converted a lot of these, so they allow you to have them available, and they've converted them in such a way that you get that ability. So for you 5eers that poo-poo Pathfinder, don't worry. 5e is becoming that eventually with all the homebrew conversions because people like that flexibility, right? They have the Arcanist, the Blood Rager, the Brawler, the Hunter, the Investigator, the Shaman, the Skald, the Slayer, the Swashbuckler, and the War Priest. All of them are blends of different classes, okay? So let's look at the archetype for a minute of the Investigator. So I'm going to go to page 100 of this book, and we're going to use it as an example because I think this is a good example to take you and help you to understand why are archetypes necessary. The base Investigator combines the Alchemist and the Rogue in such a way, or actually let's make sure, it's a blend of the Alchemist and Rogue. Yep, that's what I thought. It gives you the best of both worlds. Why do you like both? Well, because the Rogue is so skill-oriented. The Rogue in Pathfinder has so many skills to choose from. Outside of the Bard, it is the most useful when it comes to skills. Now, the Shaman has some great skills too, so I won't knock and say there aren't other classes that have it. So does the Alchemist. The Alchemist gives you the knowledge, the experiment, the empirical, with the Rogue's kind of a sneak around, sleuth it, find it, disarm it ability. So what you get by combining the two is you get kind of the true Sherlock Holmes investigator, the mad investigator. Because remember, Sherlock Holmes played with a lot of things. He mixed things up, poisons, chemicals, played with things, experimented. That is how they see the investigator. But don't stop there. Maybe you don't want that pure investigator. Maybe you want to be more of an empiricist. An empiricist looks at empirical data and makes deductions from the empirical data itself. So, where is this different? Well, you swap out some things that the base investigator has. So you get rid of the poison lore and poison resistance. Why? Because the empiricist isn't worried about poisons. They are taking in the world and calculating and deducing and deducing and deducing. It's a lot like Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. Even though they had the poison and the other things, this swaps out some things. It says, we will give these because maybe you don't care. As an investigator, you don't care about all the poison things. You really don't. The cleric can handle it, or somebody else, or the druid. You're worried about being that person that sees everything and understands it. So that's where the empiricist comes in. They have ceaseless observation, unfailing logic, which replaces the swift alchemy. The master intellect, which replaces the true inspiration. And what this does is it gives you an empirical unfolding of the world. So I'll pick one of the abilities as an example, because I don't want to delve into every ability and lose you and make this a 35-minute video. That's not what I'm trying to do. So, let's take the Master Intellect. At 20th level, the Empiricist powers of reason and deduction become almost superhuman. Holmes and Moriarty, or Brainiac, or all these other superheroes that can empirically figure things out. Or Reed Richards. Boy, don't you love when I go to those superhero references. And is able to use them in nearly all aspects of life. At 20th level, the Empiricist can use inspiration on all skills. Why is that different? Because up to now, the Investigator has limited ability to use inspiration on knowledge, skills, and some other things like praise, but they can't do it across the board. This says you can do it across every skill you have as an investigator. Even ones they're not trained in. Ooh, big perk there, right? You can use your inspiration on your untrained skills. So say you have a skill. Now, let's go look at the investigator skills, because you got to know what those are a little bit, right? One of the things missing in the investigator is survival skill. So say you're out in the outdoors, but you're deducing everything. But because you're deducing everything at this 20th level and you can do things, you can now use your inspiration on the untrained checks and all ability checks, including initiative, without spending inspiration. Up to now, the investigator has to spend inspiration from an inspiration pool to be able to use this ability of the inspiration, which gives you an extra die roll on top of your 20. So basically, it's like the D or the 5Es. What do they call them? The rolls where they add in the D6 to them in there. You guys will know it, and I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I remember this normally. But an advantage. So instead of having the advantage, this is the advantage of the investigator. And so with an Empiricist, you can do this. Now you also have the Infiltrator, the Master of Disguise. Remember that movie, The Master of Disguise? Master of Disguise. So, yeah, I'm having fun today. So now you can use your disguise skill instead of your trap finding skills. And you can mimic and do different things. What a cool thing to do. So now you want to be that infiltrator that infiltrates their way into things and figures things out without anyone knowing they're there. The fly on the wall. That's the infiltrator. The Mastermind, also kind of a Moriarty. They do the things. The Mastermind puts their inspirations into bluff, intimidate, diplomacy. They are the BS master. They are the Dr. Evil. Remember Dr. Evil out of Austin Powers? Well, there's your Dr. Evil, Mastermind. And so you swap out the abilities that are already set for the investigator for ones that make more sense for your build. Isn't that a smart idea? Now you're not having to figure out, how do I make this happen? It's done for you. Yes, everybody gripes and moans about Pathfinder having too much. I'm sorry, folks. I like too much. I do. Because instead of having to spend hours trying to tailor my character in a way that makes sense from a core class, to try to make it all work in a way that's going to work for the DM or GM and me, somebody did it for me. What a novel idea. And they thought about this. That's why archetypes make sense. They're not there to confound you and make you do more math and figure more things out. They're trying to give you a way to tailor your character that makes sense. Yes, you got to lose some things. You got to give to gain, folks. You can't have the cake and the ice cream and the sundae and the parfait and all these other sweets. You got to cut a couple things out in order to make it work. The sleuth. I love the sleuth. That's another type of Sherlock Holmes. A little different than the empiricist. The sleuth uses good fortune and guile rather than alchemy to make things work. So you swap out your alchemical things for it. Your Steelhound. God, I love the Steelhound. One of the best archetypes for me as a player, because what does it do? It lets you use those flintlock firearms So now you get basically what it does. Black powder and firearms are a natural extension of alchemical experimentation that investigators use on a regular basis. So now it gives you kind of amateur gunslinger abilities. So now instead of having to branch out and figure out how you're going to take a gunslinger with an already hybrid class and not being overpowerful, this gives you that ability. I had one that was this way. He was so cool to play. And he wasn't overpowerful either. He just could make that range shot instead of always being in the thick of the action with a rapier or sword cane, or he might die. He was still the Empiricist, but he could do the other things with that black powder firearm that gave him the ability to still be the Investigator. But now from a range, I could shoot somebody from 30 feet away, from 60 feet away, from 120 feet away, and use inspiration to help me without having to take a whole new class, without having to get the grit and everything else in that class. Now I replace some abilities, and I get that. So it's replacing the armor and weapon proficiencies, the ability for poison use, and then, you know, some investigator talents. And now you got your Steelhound. So, and those are just a few. So let's go to Ultimate Intrigue. So in Ultimate Intrigue, the book where they're trying to give you social combat, how does that affect the Investigator? And again, I'm doing the Investigator, but it does it for a myriad of classes, okay? So this is just kind of my example to try to make it easy for you. The Cipher. The Cipher is a student of non-existence. He trains himself to remain undetected and ignored in order to conduct investigations without observation or opposition or bothersome questions. Basically, the Cipher is an unseen ability that kind of basically causes people like unassuming, inattentive blindness, causes them to kind of blend in a way that no one notices them there. But the investigator's there gaining knowledge and gathering knowledge. Similar to an infiltrator, but different. Because they're not using disguises. They're there. It's just they obfuscate themselves in such a way that you don't even know. They hide in plain sight. And I love that. For a Cipher, that is so cool. A Conspirator. The Conspirator uses his knowledge of investigations to make sure he avoids any investigations that his rivals perform. So say you're doing social combat. Your rivals are trying to find out things about you. The Conspirator kind of keeps in the background so that they don't know you're there, working little machinations in the background. The Forensic Physician. So you want to be Bones? You got your Bones Investigator right there. You see where I'm going with this? It allows you to trade up a couple abilities, but not totally lose the integrity of the class in order, or take another class to have to do these things. Isn't that cool? Don't you like that you don't have to split your experience between two classes and you can keep going up in your same class? You just tailor it in such a way that it fits your idea. And that's really what Archetypes are about. Now, what about prestige classes? Well, a prestige class takes an already existing class. So say you're a ranger archer or a fighter archer, and you want to add magical archer, the arcane archer, in there. So now you go from a regular archer to the person that can infuse their weapons with magic, or the whirling dervish, or the sand dervish, or whatever you want to go dervish-wise. The dervish is that swords person from the Middle East that swings around with the swords with glee and can cut down an opponent and parry an opponent, like in what was the one, Assassin's Creed, or in Prince of Persia. Sorry, I'm trying to think of some movie references. So it gives you that addition onto your already cool class, but you take some levels over there, and you have to meet certain requirements. But once you do, it gets you the best of both worlds. Again, without having to necessarily going into a full different core class. So D&D 3.5 is chock full of those. So the Grey Guard, the Hexblade, the oh gosh, what else? I used to know all these by heart. I'm sorry, guys. You know, again, with knowledge, you have all this knowledge, but if you don't use it, it goes away. But some examples out of that. The Grey Guard for the Paladins. So there are some different ones in those prestige classes that let you branch off in a direction that you choose to after you've taken a certain amount of core competency in the class you wanted to take in the first place. And it allows you to branch off. A little better than a archetype, because it's more drastic. You get to keep those core abilities without having to swap any out, but then you gain additional abilities. Where an archetype switches abilities for abilities to let you customize. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And hopefully for you guys, it really does. See, I put a timer even to know how long I've been on here with you guys. But it even lets you do that in such a way that it makes better sense. If you'd like, I can go maybe into a deeper dive or a deeper discussion, especially if you're trying to come up with archetypes that match maybe a certain build you're trying to do, because I always see that up in the sites. Hey, mass brain pool, help me decide on how I can do this. Email me at rickmoh45, RICMOH45 at gmail.com. Or go look me up on Twitter, RIC with capital R, capital M, capital T, little h, little e, capital GM on Twitter. And either place you can hit me up. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Or you can even do it. And yes, I've been partnering up with my good friend David Steele and the Steele Group, as I'll call them. It shortens down their full name, but they do the wonderful podcasts every week. So I'm on their website, so you can go there as well and take a look at that. So there's a lot of different places you can get help, but hopefully this helps a little bit with that and simplifies it in a way that really makes sense for everybody. And if you got any questions on any of it, let me know. All right. Have a great week, and thanks for joining another GM Tips. GM Rick out.